Hey there, my name's Jonah. My parents' divorce was one of the toughest things I had to get through, but it turns out dealing with a new stepfather was even harder. When I was 6, my parents got divorced. They were constantly fighting. Eventually, my dad had enough and left, and I haven't seen him since. My mom was a nurse and was working all the time, but she still was having a hard time supporting us. She moved us into a small, more affordable apartment. For years she was single. She didn't even bother dating since she was so busy. But around the time I was 11, she started seeing this new guy, Jack. Jack owned a successful restaurant here in town, so he was pretty wealthy. My mom would always come in with gifts like new clothes and jewelry. One day, she took me over to his house so I could meet him and his son, Frank. I was always in Frank's room playing games with him. But one day, we were playing video games, and I was beating him. He got really mad at me, and we started fighting. My mom and Jack came in to see what all the commotion was. Frank started fake crying, saying that I hit him, which I didn't do. Jack started yelling at me, calling me a bully and a troublemaker. Ever since then, we had a rocky relationship. I started staying home rather than going with my mom when she went to see him. But soon enough, I couldn't avoid him any longer, because my mom was moving us into his house. I begged her not to, because Jack was always so mean to me, and Frank was a brat. But she reassured me that it wasn't going to be like that. She was wrong. Every time something bad would happen, I would get blamed. Like if Frank made a mess, I would get yelled at. Or if he broke something, Frank would blame it on me. I couldn't stand up for myself, because Jack would say I had an attitude problem, and threatened to send me away to military school. My mom was always working, so she couldn't see how poorly I was being treated. All she knew was what Jack told her. Even she started to believe I was a bad kid. It got to the point where I stopped leaving my bedroom, because I was afraid they were going to start fights with me. We were always at each other's throats. It just kept on getting worse and worse. When I was 14, I started staying at my best friend Luke's house. I went there so much that they started making a place for me at the dinner table every night. Luke knew firsthand how hard of a time I had at home. One day, Luke asked his parents if it was okay if I stayed with them for a while. They said of course, I was practically family. I was so relieved. I went home and packed a bag. I told my mom and Jack I was staying there for a while. Jack couldn't care less where I was, but my mom was upset. She was sad at first, but she said if I was that unhappy living there, she was okay with it, as long as I called. I still see my mom occasionally when Jack isn't around. Maybe eventually things will get better between Jack and I. But until then, I'm still living with my best friend and his family, which is the best family I could ask for. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have a story that you'd like to share, leave it in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.